Gotta get out. Gotta find my way out. Okay. Numbers. Gotta take them. Gotta get them out. Gotta get out. Gotta find the limits, factors, conjugate. Gotta find the numbers. Gotta get them out. Gotta find my way out. Sammy, sweetie, you have to stop writing on the walls. Those are telephone numbers. Come on, follow me. Let's take your medication, okay? So you can go home real soon and be with your family. I think a lot of people, including me earlier in life, would hear the word bipolar and think moody. That's what it's about, right? Going from high highs to low lows over periods of time. The thing that many people don't know is how high those highs can get. I always thought that the worst thing about mania was the extreme impulsiveness and extreme happiness. But I learned the hard way that I barely understood what a manic episode really was. Throughout my life, I struggled with depression and anxiety. It was just something that I always had to live with. In high school, I began taking antidepressants and received extra support for my emotional disability because it tended to affect my performance in school. By the time I graduated, I had found a good balance between my mental health and my academics, and I was super excited to be starting college for math education. I decided when I got there that I wasn't going to sign up for those same supports because I had already learned how to balance everything. Things were okay throughout the first semester. I always struggled with my depression, but it was always to a controlled extent. However, everything changed in my second semester. I had started to irregularly take my medication, and I was partying a lot. I had trouble sleeping quite often, but I was still passing my classes with good grades, so I figured everything was okay. One night, like many others, I was laying awake in bed trying to get myself to sleep. But something changed this night. My thoughts were racing. So I pulled out my phone in an attempt to write everything down and make sense of it all. But I could barely keep up with my thoughts. I was going on and on about theories about life, about soulmates, about happiness. I wrote for hours, and before I knew it, it was the morning. In full confidence, I decided I need to immediately change my major to philosophy. I had ideas and theories, and I thought I was going to change the world. I went to my classes, but I didn't hear a single word the professors said. I just kept writing more and more of these amazing ideas I had in my notebooks. I was also telling my peers as well that I wanted to switch and about all my great ideas. They just kind of laughed me off and said, "Dude, what are you on?" I didn't care though, because I was confident that they just weren't smart enough to understand me. I didn't sleep another night, and the next day I was at the library with Sarah. I told her how I had all these ideas and that I couldn't focus, and she recommended that I reach out to my parents. She had to constantly remind me to keep my voice down, but I didn't care if other people heard me. So I did my research and I re-diagnosed my depression for OCD, and then I called my parents demanding that they take me to the doctors to have my medications changed. They picked me up and brought me to an emergency crisis center. I sat there for a whole hour telling this woman about my theories about time travel and medication and family history. She sent me home with them for the night, and again I tried to sleep, but I just couldn't. I felt tired, but it was like my mind just wouldn't stop. The next day, my parents took me to the hospital. I was confused, but I figured this was a way for me to quickly get my medications changed. Once I was admitted, my memory got fuzzier. But I do remember some specific vivid memories. One was when I was sitting next to the phone attached to the wall. It was the only phone in the psych unit, and I was trying to take the limit, as in calculus, of the phone numbers posted next to it, because I was convinced that the entire place was a giant escape room, and that this was one of the clues. Another one was when I believed I was Moana, and that the Disney movie was made for me to realize my own truth. I was also convinced that this place was a place where Walt Disney would observe me from afar to confirm that I was the right person, and that he would communicate with me through the shower by turning the water off and on. It turns out that it was just an automatic shower. Another time I sat on the floor for the entire night talking to another patient about how osmosis was something that cults were using to brainwash people. I even let another patient take me into her room and perform an excursion on me, and I believed it gave me the ability to sing like an angel. I was trying to decode words into numbers to find their hidden meanings, and I drew all my theories on the walls in my room, and because of that, I kind of got all the crayons taken away for the entire floor. But then one day, I just woke up, and all these things that had happened to me since the first night I stayed up were like memories of someone who woke up after being blackout drunk. I had absolutely no idea how much time had passed. And that's when they told me I had bipolar disorder, and that what I had was a textbook manic episode. I was given new medication and I had to stay in the hospital for a while longer so I could adjust. I was terrified and confused because I could remember all these things I had believed, and I could see all these strange things that I had written on the papers I had accumulated. Everyone at the unit disliked me because I had been running around crazy for the past week, and even some of the nurses seemed kind of scared of me. When I got out, I just wanted to go back to a normal life. I wanted to put this whole week behind me like it never happened and just go back to college. But I was put into a 4 days a week outpatient therapy and forced to withdraw for the semester. On the first weekend chance I had, I went back to college and I just partied. I didn't take any of my medication and I felt a little bit like myself again, finally. So I stopped taking my medication altogether because I liked the way I felt without it better. I went to therapy, but I barely participated, and then I just hung out at home. But then a few weeks later, I had taken my brother out to eat with me, and that was when I started to feel off again. I saw a sign about arts and crafts, and I freaked out that witches would be showing up at the place, and so I told my brother that we had to leave. I started driving home, but he said he felt sick, so I stopped at Target and took him to the restroom. All of a sudden, I became convinced that I was the one who was making him sick, and that if I stayed with him, he would die. The scariest part about mania is that you truly believe these things, the same way you believe 2 + 2 is 4. It's just the truth. I called my mom and I asked her to pick us up. She came right away because she could tell something was off. In a panic, I also called my uncle, who was a priest, to ask him what I could do because I didn't want my brother to die. He was about to teach mass, so he said he'll call me back at 4. I freaked out at him and told him that 4 would be too late, and he said, "Why? What would happen?" And that's when I realized I didn't know what would happen. I hung up, now completely convinced that I needed a silver necklace to prevent anything from going wrong. I begged and begged my mom to get me one, but she knew what was going on and insisted that I go back to the hospital with her. I was really hesitant because I didn't think anything was wrong with me, and I knew that they wouldn't have necklaces there. But she didn't give me a choice. Eventually, I was admitted, and I went through another week of blackouts. That time, I remember thinking that I had traveled back in time and that I had somehow erased someone from existence, and that the only way to get them was through the shower. So I kept walking into the shower with my clothes on, just sobbing. Eventually, they had to have someone watch me all the time. I also thought that tattoos were a way to teleport, and that if somebody touched mine, I would just disappear. I also believed that when somebody new came in, I was the one who had brought them into existence, and if I forgot to remember to will them to breathe, they would die. And I also thought that there was an invisible person that my uncle had sent to watch me at all times. And then I woke up again. I felt really defeated this time, because I knew what had happened. They also didn't let me leave for a while so that they could make sure I wouldn't be back for a long time, and that was really hard for me. We barely got to go outside. There wasn't much to do. The food got really old really quick, and I just wanted my own bed more than anything. After this manic episode, I started to participate in therapy. I started to be more communicative with my psychiatrist about my medication, and I took it very consistently. I just stopped running from my diagnosis, and I accepted the help that was being offered to me. And that was the only way that I could get better. Thank you for sharing your story with us. To help us better understand what it feels like for people who struggle with bipolar disorder. If you'd like to share your story with us, please submit your story to the link in the description. We want to make as many inspiring and educational stories into videos as possible. We want to make videos that can help you understand that you are not alone, that there are other people who are also struggling, and we hope that these stories will help to inspire you to overcome the difficult things that you are going through. We are trying to make as many of these videos as we possibly can for you, but with our limited resources, as much as we want to, we're so sorry we're not able to create every one of your stories into a video. But if you'd like to help us, there is a way. Visit our Patreon site to help us make more videos. Every single little bit helps us to create the best videos we all know and love. Thank you all for your support and your love. We are always so touched to see all the positive responses in the comments.